Good morning everyone, and today I'm doing a first impression of this machine photo courtesy of currentbody.com. Now there are various microdermabrasion machines. Now before I get into my video, I just wanted to explain why I chose this one. This one was one of the only ones that is cordless. PMD Beauty have brought out a cordless one just recently, but it's not available in the UK yet, and I definitely didn't want to be struggling with a cord. The other thing is that this, as you can see, has got an on-screen guide which will take you through which parts of the face to do and the timings, which I thought was a very useful tool. It's also got 3 different power levels, and it's got 4 attachment heads, which includes 3 of them are exfoliating heads, but the other one is a massaging head. And I haven't seen any others with a massaging head, so I thought that was very useful. I was quite keen to try the PMD Beauty one, but as I said, you can't get it in the UK yet. Now, some of you will remember that this was sent to me with a European plug, hence the delay in putting out this review. But the Current Body did eventually send me an adapter to use it in the UK. I've used this 2 times. It's definitely a work in progress, but the second time was a lot better. And I do think it is very good machine. So I hope you enjoy this first impression, and I will give you further updates as I use it more in the future. Hello everyone. So today I'm going to be using my microdermabrasion machine. Now this is by Silk'n, and it's basically got an on-screen instruction here. So when you turn it on and you turn it into auto, it tells you what to do basically. Now this is the first time I'm using it, so I'm going to concentrate, and just so it'll be on silent, I'm not going to talk to you while I'm doing it. But I will take a before photo, and then we shall see what my face, it may look a bit inflamed tomorrow morning, hopefully not too much. I don't want to go too mad, because if I do and I cause abrasions on my skin, then I could actually cause more pigmentation. So I want to be very, very careful, but I'm going to be doing this now, and I hope that you enjoy it. Okay, here we go. Now that screen that I just showed you is telling me in auto mode which part to do first, and it's telling me to do my cheeks. And I was quite surprised about the suction. You really do need to hold your skin taut, which I didn't do straight away. Make sure you do that if you're using one of these devices, because it really is like vacuuming your skin. Now, it was a bit of a learning curve, just trying to get the proper suction on the machine, and then switching hands was a bit awkward. I'm going to tell you a bit more about that later, because I've got some thoughts about that. So you really have got to be careful near your eyes, and this wasn't the best use of it here. I'm cringing a little bit because it's really pulling. You really need to pull the skin taut before you start using it, because it really drags the skin. Anyway, you can see that. Didn't feel uncomfortable. I was quite surprised at how gentle it was actually. Now it's bleeping at me and it's telling me to move to my nose. Now there is a smaller attachment for the nose, and maybe I'll use that in the future, because this was quite difficult to get the suction again. You've got to get the kind of vacuum effect, otherwise it doesn't work. It's almost impossible to get that on the ridge of your nose at the top there, but the sides it's okay. Now I've done this a second time now, and I've got the hang of doing the nose, and I've really seen a difference. Now it bleeped and it told me to move to the chin, and again it was trying to get that suction going. Definitely a bit of a learning curve. The other thing is that the device tells you to do the tops of your cheeks, and it tells you to do the chin. But there's that big triangle where you kind of contour that it doesn't tell you to do at all. So I have to go back and do that on manual. Now this is where I got to do my head. Now I was fine this side, but when I swapped sides I struggled a bit, and it started to beep to tell me to move to the next area of my face before I'd actually managed to get any suction whatsoever on this side. I definitely needed to swap hands. I think it just wasn't going to work using that hand. And by the time I worked it out, it just was not working. Now it does tell you to do the sides of the eyes as well. So it told me to move to the sides of the eyes. Do not do under your eyes for obvious reasons. Skin is too delicate. And it also tells you to do between your eyes, but I don't think I got around to doing that. And then the last time it bleeps, it tells you to do your neck. I'm quickly trying to go and work that out, but it's already bleeping at me, I think, and telling me to do my neck. So there's the neck. And again, it was making some really, the suction got there, it was quite alarming. I could really, if it sounded like a Hoover at one point. And I really didn't do that much of my neck. But I just wanted to keep this in real time so that you could see my very first time using it and the learning curve around using it. And as you can see, sometimes I get the suction and I can pull it, and other times there's no suction there and I have to kind of keep moving it to get the suction. Otherwise it doesn't do anything. And then I'm trying to go back over my head quickly before it runs out of time, because otherwise I would have missed that bit. Okay, and then I put it into manual mode so I could just try and get this side done of my head. So there is always that option. You can see me struggling there again to get the vacuum. I think I have to swap hands. I don't think you can do it very well. Although I did manage it just then. And then you'll see I'm doing my upper lip, because again it didn't show me to do that part. So I did that on manual. Okay, I now have to go and rinse my face with tepid water. It was a bit of getting the knack to getting the suction, because it sucks your skin to get all the dead skin off it. And if you didn't get it at the right angle, it didn't actually form a suction, so it wasn't doing anything. So that's going to be a learning curve. So I kept running out, it saying, right, you finished doing your head now, and I'd only done half of my head. But we shall see what it's like. Very exciting. And I'm going to show you in a minute what's on the filter. Okay, so there wasn't really much on the filter, but you can see the red patches. I didn't like the way it was pulling there. I've got to be very careful to pull the skin tight. But I'm glad that I've managed to do my cheek peaks and my forehead, and I'm now going to get one of my aloe masks and settle down and relax for the evening. So I will come back tomorrow morning and tell you all about this machine. Okay, so it's the morning after, the night before, of my microdermabrasion, and as you can see, I'm looking rather glowy this morning. I'm very pleased. I was a little bit worried and I was a bit timid. I just put it on level 1 to start with, because I don't want to go nuts and then start causing more pigmentation. I think it's going to be a little bit of a work in progress, because there is a real skill to getting that suction, right? So when you put it on your face, it kind of sucks your face, and there's a suction, and then you kind of drag it across your skin. So you need to make sure that the machine is tight, otherwise it really starts to kind of pull this area, and you don't want that. And I was feeling that yesterday. I was panicking a little bit last night because I got it there and it was doing that, and you really don't want that to happen too much, or you're going to end up with more fine lines than you started with, and that's not a good plan. But also on my forehead, I was really struggling when I start to use it with my left hand to try and get the angle right. It's great when it's in my right hand. It seems to be designed for people that are right-handed in terms of the angle of the actual device to get the suction. Now, I don't know whether or not, I would imagine that if you're left-handed, you might struggle a bit because of the way that it is angled. I don't know, because I don't know anyone who's left-handed that I can try it with, but it is something to consider when you're purchasing a microdermabrasion machine. Look at the angle of the tip, because what you need to do is angle it at such an angle that you get the suction, and then you pull it across the face. And I found that when I switched, and I'm actually almost ambidextrous, long story, but I had to use my left hand a lot as a child because I had coordination problems. Don't have them anymore because I was sent to piano lessons. Won't go into that. But so I can use my left hand, but I was finding it more difficult to actually get the right angle when I used it with my left hand. Just wanted to freeze there for a minute, because actually looking back at the video, the problem wasn't when I was using my left hand, but when I was trying to use it with my right hand on my left side, if that makes sense. So I don't think it necessarily will be too much of a problem if you're left-handed. I think it's when you're using the machine on your non-dominant side with the same dominant hand, if that makes sense, the opposite side of your face to your hand. I think you need to switch hands. When I had it with my right hand, I didn't feel ultra smooth afterwards. A little bit red, but I used the aloe vera mask that I bought. I'll just show you the one that I'm talking about. So these are the aloe vera masks that I bought. That just immediately calmed down my skin. And then I didn't put anything really, like a really strong active like retinol on my face. I didn't want to do that, although I know that it's so tempting to do it because you've just microdermabrased your skin, if that's the right verb for microdermabrasion. It's so tempting. You want to put all these lovely actives on that are going to sink really into your skin. But until I'm actually used to it and I've got a feel for how it's going to be on my skin, I just did not want to push it and cause myself damage on my skin. That is not the purpose of it. So I did go in very carefully, although there are 4 tips. I'm going to show you the tips to the machine that come with this particular machine, and of course there's plenty of others available. I will just show you those tips now. Can I just say a little side point? If ever you see my chest and it's looking a bit mucky, it's not muck. I've had to treat it this morning because I wear pain patches. They are stick-on pain patches, and the adhesive gets stuck to your body and it's very difficult to get off. And the only way that I can get it off is with these wipes that you get for kind of injections, and they're really strong. They really smell, and they're not good to use all the time on your skin. The worst thing to use, they smell really strong, like paint remover, and they're the only thing that gets the stickiness off. So sometimes I let it build up because I don't want to be using it every time I change a patch. And that was on my chest yesterday. I've now removed it all. If anyone's got any tips for how to remove adhesive from your skin with something a little less strong than these very strong wipes that I use, do let me know, because I'd love to get your comments. Sometimes it gets stuck in my pores as well, and I get what looks like blackheads, and they're not blackheads, they're just a bit of the adhesive stuck in my pores, and I have to try and exfoliate them out. Maybe this device will help. Anyway, back to the device. So it comes with 4 attachments. Now, this one is the one that they did suggest using, and I actually didn't use it last night, but this is the sensitive tip. So it's smaller, but it's also recommended for getting around your nose area, which I mean, I could have used that last night. So if you're like me, actually, and you get very sort of open pores around your nose, this would be really good for that. It does say, as if we need to know, I'm sure we don't need to tell anyone this, don't go and put it straight under your eyes. Nothing past the orbital bone, because this skin is so delicate, and it's not just about the exfoliation. This is really quite a strong suction, so it's like a vacuum on your skin and it pulls it. So please don't do this. The only place they suggest is at the side of the eyes and in between the eyes here, where you've obviously got quite thicker skin and you're not going to be pulling any fragile skin. Okay, so that's that one. And then there is one for the body, which, as I say, I might actually have a go at removing some of that adhesive. So that's the one for the body. So you can use that on larger areas like your arms and your legs, etc. And then there is on this one, and this was quite different to some of the others that I've been looking at, it's also got a massaging head, which I thought would be quite cool to use afterwards to kind of massage my serums in. Although, again, last night I just pared it down to the very basic. I did switch it from auto. So when it's got auto mode and it's got manual mode. I switched it to manual after. I think the auto mode is good because it gives you an idea of how long you should be using it in each area. And I think that that's really good because, you know, there is the danger, I think, of overusing it and then damaging your skin, and you don't want to do that. So it's good in that it says, right, do this, and then it bleeps at you and says, now move to this section. The only problem with that was I was still trying to get a suction on this side of my head, and I hadn't got the suction when it told me to move over to my chin. And so at the end I had to go back because I hadn't treated that side of my head at all. So it's good that it's got the manual feature for that, but just be aware of the kind of, I think it's good to use the auto mode as a guide to how long you should be using it. And when you've got an idea of that, you can perhaps customize it a bit more by using the manual mode. And there are 3 levels. And of course I started on level 1. Now, after I used it, apart from a little bit of redness, I have to say, I love my skin this morning. It's looking very glowy. And of course I did my skincare this morning and I was very careful to put lots and lots of tinted sunscreen on. I use this one. I haven't swapped yet to Sam Bunting's because obviously when you do microdermabrasion or any exfoliation on your face, you're going to make your skin even more receptive to the sun and sun damage. So I made sure that before I stepped out the door, this went on first thing this morning. I was expecting my face to feel a lot smoother than it would normally feel after I've done an exfoliation. And it didn't, especially around the neck. Now, I think maybe I was probably a little bit timid about doing it around the neck. But yeah, on my neck, normally, if I use a kind of scrub exfoliator, I can feel a lot smoother, but I don't really feel that. And I think that might be that I've just not yet got used to the device enough about getting the best level, the best intensity, the best head maybe, and also just getting the right suction again. So the jury's out. Let me know what you think of my skin. All I've got on at the moment is tinted sunscreen. All right, take care, and I'll see you all soon. Any questions, do leave them below, and I will make sure that I do a kind of fortnightly update on this device And because you're supposed to use it twice a week, no more than twice a week. So I will do a kind of fortnightly update. And I'm also going to continue using this when I use the Dr Sam Bunting, because there's no exfoliator in her range, so I can continue using that with care, obviously. And I need to, when I talk about Sam Bunting's range, I need to be careful about when I do this, in terms of when I start introducing certain ones of her serums which have got quite strong actives in them, like bakuchiol and retinol. So I need to kind of figure out how I'm going to do this, but I will keep using this and I will keep updating you so that you get an idea. And I also want to revisit my Foreo machine, because I've been really bad at using that recently. And I know a lot of people tuned into my review about it, and they have actually brought out some new masks. So I want to go back to reviewing that and doing some follow-up on that and starting to use that as well, so that you can see some of these gadgets. Okay, take care, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye-bye.